So today is a Thursday, the 4th of December 2025, and we have two major events which we're expecting this afternoon. We have three in the real sense, two from the United States and one from Canada. We have Challenger job cuts by 1:30 p.m. and we have unemployment claims by 2:30 p.m. Actually, the unemployment claims will carry a lot more weight compared to the Challenger job cuts. And the unemployment claim is a high impact event, while Challenger job cuts is a medium impact event. Then later by 4 p.m., there'll be IV PMI from Canada, and I'll show you the instruments I'm looking, watching out for the IV PMI from Canada. All right, let's go back to the charts to project ahead of this event. Hey, good afternoon, Kidance peeps. All right, so for the unemployment claims, this is the dollar index on the daily time frame. I am bearish on the dollar index for many reasons. If you look at the structure of the charts, on one angle, this looks a lot like a head and shoulder pattern. And even on this other side, it looks a lot like a double top pattern, and price has broken out below the neckline. So we might be expecting a further, bearish breakout. So from the dollar index angle, I would say I'm bearish on the dollar. But then we don't actually trade the dollar index itself. We trade more of the other major currency pairs. This is a USD CHF. Now, USD CHF is not giving me as much clarity as what I saw on the dollar index. I might have to check. Let me check GBP USD and Euro USD for that confirmation. Okay, this is what I would say. To be honest, all these pairs are not giving the confirmation required. But then, if you must trade this news at all, I will advise you trade with a lot of caution. Because for the USDJPY, price currently is trading around a previous support on resistance, which means we may be looking out for a bearish breakout, but that will be opposing what we saw on the dollar index. And for USDCHF, there's no particular clarity. It's not hitting any resistance or any support or anything. It's just floating. I think I'll just advise you can ignore that news and let's just focus on pure technicals. So for me, I think I'll just ignore this unemployment claims. There will always be another trade. That's my personal slogan. So there's no point, getting stuck on something and you're not certain of it. All right, for other technical setup I'm looking at the AUD pairs are really getting ready for movement, almost, let me say, almost across board. And I'll start with the AUD CHF and the AUD JPY. So pay a lot of attention to these AUD pairs I'm going to mention: AUD CHF, AUD JPY, and GBP AUD. But of the three, the one I favor most would be the GBP AUD. I think let me quickly start with that one because I'm seeing more clear setup on the GBP AUD. Now, this is the GBP AUD on the daily time frame. We can see clearly we have a trend line where price is trending up, a series of higher lows, higher low, higher low, and finally another higher low here. So technically, we're expecting price to go in the bullish direction on the GBP AUD. And the other confirmation for a bullish movement is the fact that we have a bullish engulfing candlestick pattern here on the daily time frame. That is the second confirmation for a bullish movement on the GBP AUD. And finally, we'll take it down to our entry time frame, which will be the 1 hour time frame. So on the 1 hour time frame, I'm seeing what looks a lot like an inverse head and shoulder, which will trigger the final bullish move on the GBP AUD. This region becomes our neckline. So the moment a new candle breaks out above this neckline region, you can trigger a buy on the GBP AUD. RSI is already above 50, and MACD, I think MACD is about to cross below zero. You can use that as your additional confirmation. But overall, we are bullish on the GBP AUD on 1 hour time frame. And we may also want to check the potential profits that we can generate from this setup. Now you can see that our entry is actually close to Fibonacci 38. It's just around that region. So if you make entry around that area, so the next Fibonacci level, which is 50, can give around 40 pips. We'll take note of the spread of that instrument. So Fibonacci 61.6 can give as much as around, let's say around 85 pips thereabouts. And if the volatility is really strong and it goes up beyond that, the next level is Fibonacci 70.6, and that's about 150 pips. So we have between 40 to 150 pips, to catch on the GBP AUD. So watch out closely for the breakout of price above the neckline region. So we're bullish on the GBP AUD. Now, since we're bullish on GBP AUD, I'm bearish on the other AUD pairs like the AUD CHF and the AUD JPY. Now, those ones are only to be looked into only if the GBP AUD did not move. That is, if there's no sufficient volatility to push through to break above the neckline. It's only under that condition you can look at the AUD CHF or the AUD JPY. But then for analysis sake, I'll still show you my views on the AUD CHF and the AUD JPY. This is the AUD CHF on the daily time frame. This is today's daily candle. That's the one in the current one here. You can see that price hit that resistance zone, and the candles for today is already forming a rejection candle. Now the day is yet to be over, so anything can still happen. But let's just say price obeys the law of technical analysis, which is at resistance, we expect a reversal. If all things work as we can see there, we can as well have a trend line there and a second one at the back to give us a rising wedge pattern. So we might be looking out for a breakout of price below this, lower trend line to trigger a sell on the AUD CHF. Don't forget your RSI should be below 50 and possibly your MACD should be below zero at the point of entry. So we're bearish on the AUD CHF. And likewise, I said AUD JPY. The AUD CHF is on 1 hour time frame. We're bearish on it on 1 hour. And this is the AUD JPY. Price also hits resistance. All right. This one is weekly resistance. This is a support turned resistance on the weekly time frame. That is expected to lead to further bearish continuation. If you take it down to 1 hour time frame, all right. So this is the 1 hour time frame, but then I believe price may retest this trend line, trying to form a head and shoulder before a final breakout. If it does that, perfect. If not, it will just go out straight breakout, and confirmation is RSI. RSI is clearly below 50. MACD is still trying to approach zero. But what we need is a new candle breaking out below this lower trend line. Once that happens, you can trigger a sell on the AUD JPY. But like I said, please avoid taking all three trades. Avoid selling AUD JPY, AUD CHF, and buying GBP AUD. Look out for the one that breaks out first, and trade accordingly. So we are bearish on AUD CHF on 1 hour. We're bearish on AUD JPY on 1 hour, and we're bullish on the GBP AUD on 1 hour also. All of them are all 1 hour trade setup. Now for GBP JPY, I gave this analysis at the beginning of the week. Initially, it went as planned. Then we can see there was a slight retracement. At the beginning of the week, I said I was bearish on the GBP JPY because I was seeing a rising wedge pattern, around here. But then, like I always tell us, personally too, I don't get hung up on patterns. For one reason or the other, it may change. Though the direction may still be the same, but the pattern may change. So the pattern has evolved now into what is looking a lot like a head and shoulder from just the regularizing wedge. It's evolving into a head and shoulder. If this works out as fine as I'm seeing rather, and price breaks out below the neckline, then it will still sell as earlier, analyzed. But for now, just watch it closely and let's see if price will drop to the neckline and break out below it. So once that happens, you can trigger a sell on the GBP JPY. And don't forget to confirm your RSI below 50 and also MACD below 0. So we're still bullish on the GBP JPY. And finally, the CAD pair, especially because we're expecting the news from Canada this afternoon. Now, I dropped this view of CAD JPY on our groups about 2 days ago now. Today is Thursday, that was on Tuesday, where I posted that a breakout upwards would mean a buy, downwards would mean a sell. Now, price has broken out to the downside and is selling already on the CAD JPY. But then there's an upcoming news by 4 p.m. So what do we do? Now, if the news comes out bad for the Canadian dollar, you can sell the CAD JPY because it's already in the bearish trend. If it comes out good, please stay out of it. You are only selling if the news comes out bad for the Canadian dollar. The other pair you may want to look at for that CAD news will be the Euro CAD. So while CAD JPY is bearish, Euro CAD is having a bullish sentiment. It's still symmetrical triangle also, but for this one, price just broke out above the upper part here. So if the data comes out bad for the CAD JPY, you can either sell, sorry, if the data comes out bad for the Canadian dollar rather, you can either sell CAD JPY or you buy Euro CAD. Those are the two options. Either you're selling, if it comes out bad, which is a red color, you can either look at selling CAD JPY or you are buying the Euro CAD. All right, that's my analysis this afternoon. If you have a question, you can post it. But then let me quickly do a little recap. So from the analysis this afternoon, from United States, like I said, I'm not really getting clarity on the major currency pairs. So personally, I'm staying out. But then on the other fundamental from Canada, that's the IV PMI. I'm bearish on the Canadian dollar. So we are either selling the CAD JPY or we're buying Euro CAD if the news comes out in line with that expectation. For other technical setup, I'm bullish on the GBP AUD on 1 hour, while I'm bearish on the AED CHF and the AED JPY. Then for GBP JPY, we're bearish, though it's still forming. The formation is still on, it's not complete yet. But then we're bearish on the GBP JPY. All right, that'll be all from my end. Any question as we close? All right, in the absence of any question, we'll end the analysis here. Do trade safe and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, sir.